Clem is the final Terran representative here of the tournament. So if you're fond of Terran matchups, then Clem is the one to get behind. But here we go, we're getting into our next series, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alcyone, we have our French Terran player representing Team Liquid. The last Terran hope in the tournament. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing KranKy Z Gaming from the land of China. It is Jieshi. And I am excited as Clem, he's rocking up with a cheeky SCV. Okay, a very different dynamic here. Now what I was about to get into is that Jieshi, alongside his compatriots, his countrymen, Firefly and Cyan, have been looking very strong. We've seen them bring down Clem before. We have already seen that transpire. Can Jieshi bring down Clem again though? Can he replicate that success? Or was it more of a one-off thing? That's the question, as Clem is starting things off with a proxy Rex. Now, the way this works is that this should be a proxy Reaper, and the SCV is going to be able to either eBay block or throw down a bunker on the high ground, depending on what he does encounter. Again, a very aggressive build here by Clem. We'll see what he can get done. We'll see how much economic damage he can deal to Jieshi. Double gas is behind this. Curious. We could double down with Marauder, but there it is. Reaper is on the way. The SCV is going to be available as well to move out. Nexus has been thrown down, and this SCV has potential for the bunker. Now, will Jieshi scout this? He does check behind the mineral line. SCV does dip in. The bunker does get thrown down. And with the help of this bunker, the Reaper is going to be able to deny mining at the natural and even focus down the pylon as well. It's a very good position for the bunker, especially using the terrain and the SimCity against Jieshi as we get over to the other side of the wall. The RNG is looking good, but the SCV has gotten very low. SV is low, Reaper comes in, probe is forced back, and the bunker will continue. Production of the bunker will continue. We have a shield battery on the way. Reaper gets into the main. Stalker is still in production. And can we get a second probe? So far, good control out of Jieshi, but oh, he does bleed out a second worker. And soon to be a third. Yeah, third probe goes down. Brutal losses there. The Reaper, it looks like it's going to be a one-way trip. The Reaper should be cleaned up. But we have a second Reaper on the way, and the bunker is done. Bunker has completed. With this, Jieshi's going to be stuck on one base economy. He's going to be stuck on one base until the bunker gets dealt with. Shield battery is helping, but can we focus on the SCV? Oh, we can! Bit of miscontrol there by Clem. He does not juggle, he does not save the worker, which means this bunker is going to be salvaged. Whew. Okay. So again, a good cleanup there by Jieshi. This could have been worse. If that SCV had survived, we can repair, and then we can... Basically, the way this works is that you can juggle the SCV by diving into the bunker and avoiding stalker shots. So you can like keep that going for a while and maintain that bunker, but Clem did end up losing it. That means that Jieshi can now go back to mining. So a good cleanup here by Jieshi. Can move out. Behind this, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener. As a reminder, we did not see a Twilight Council opener at all last series. Trap embraced Stargates and Robos instead, so it's great to see Blink once again after a bit of a hiatus. Ooh, as the Reaper does overextend, and Clem, did we scout the tech? We did. Oh, okay. Thankfully, we did scout the Twilight Council, and we should be getting into tank production. Earlier I was addressing like a comment in chat talking about like a tank heavy style and how we didn't really see them. Now we have a tech lab on the way. This should be for tanks. Again, because we're up against Blink Stalkers, tanks are going to be the norm here to defend. Cyclone job is moving out. First tank is on the way. Again, tanks are necessary. They're required to defend against Blink Stalkers. Otherwise, they can have their way with your bases. Hallucination will confirm the setup. We'll confirm the main. And the job does come in across the map. Oh, there's a sentry, but there is a shield battery, thankfully. Barely within range. We keep the sentry alive. Jieshi does hold. Drop rotating around towards the main. We do get some lock-ons here. The Stalker, ooh, does survive. Barely. And oh my god, the medevac as well. Does get away, but is locked here, stuck in the corner of the map, and I don't see a way out for this drop. We're going to be locked down here for quite some time. Hopefully we can make use of it later. As back at home, Clem is securing himself on 2 bases, getting into his 3-1-1, getting into his tanks and ravens. Meanwhile, Jieshi did not open up 4-gate blink. It was a 2-gate blink opener into a third, a much more economic opener out of Jieshi. So he's getting into his 3-base setup. Meanwhile, Clem is soon going to be breaking out. And the question becomes, do we push on 2 bases or do we get a third? Most likely a 3rd base here for Clem, but we'll see. We shall see. So 2nd tank has arrived. Stim is still on the horizon. Once we get Stim and the rest of our upgrades, we can break out. Ooh, as the Raven comes in, does get a probe. 1 probe does fall. Not a bad start. Not a bad start here, as we do see Clem coming in with another auto turret. Oh, Threaten doesn't actually have the energy for one. He does cause Jieshi to flinch there. Nicely done there by Clem. Does make him flinch. Behind this, we're settling in. And now with the completion of these upgrades, we can push. Here we go. Now the Observer does spot the move out. Jieshi is aware. And he should be getting ready back at home. We have the 3rd base on location. Clem moving out with his tanks, moving out with his bio. The drop, ooh, does not quite make it out. Not yet. And Jieshi confirms the army at the Zonaga Tower. Now we have force fields. We have an Immortal. 1 so far. The tanks are looking to lay siege upon this army. And Jieshi does have charge. Doesn't commit yet. Drop dips in. Ooh, the drop gets shut down. And now Jieshi he can focus. He can focus on the main fight. Clem doesn't like the odds here of pushing in, so he will retreat. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate Clem pulling back, recognizing that Jieshi has enough. Clem will race back home. Getting a stir base. We do have a drop on the right-hand side. The Marine can potentially delay the 4th. Potentially. And we're settling into a 3-base setup. Again, we're on Alkion Evil maps. A very macro-oriented map here. So for the first time, we're kind of calming things down, and we're having a more, we're just kind of strolling into the mid-game here. There's been no hyper-aggression like we saw versus Trap, but did I speak too soon? As we pull back home, we wait for reinforcements. Now Jieshi does have the Zonaga, he does spot the army. He is aware. He is aware, has 3 Immortals now, Colossus on the way. We'll see what kind of position can Clem find himself in. Where can he establish those tanks? He scans, he sees the force. Pulls back. We have Zealots ready for a flank. The Observer sees everything as well. As Jieshi has eyes on the entire army. I do like this. Jieshi working on a... Okay, I was going to say working on a surround. Working on a counterattack even. Watermine goes down. Good pick off. We should be aware that now there's an Observer. Zealot Rambai does hit the 3rd base. At the same time, does Jieshi pounce on the army? The tanks are exposed. Mine shot does go off. We get on top of the tanks. Tanks are going to be cleaned up. Decent force field here, catching some of the Marines. That's a good defense here by Jieshi. Cleans up the bulk of the army. And from here, pulls back, establishes his 4th base. Again, a good fight by Jieshi. You can see Clem plummet in supply, by the way. Raven comes in, but we have Soldiers in position. We don't really threaten the mineral line until we get these auto turrets thrown down. 3 probes fall. But Clem lost a lot in his push, and that is why he's now down in supply here. Jieshi building up his forces, not taking his gases at his 3rd, no gases at the 4th, only 1 gas at the natural. What does this mean? Zealots. We got a lot of Zealots and we're pushing. Let's go. We're moving out across the map, and what do we have to defend? No tanks. Do we have any Widow Mines? Uh-oh. Very few Widow Mines available as well. They just pop out at the natural. Clem is taking into Ghosts, and he's not ready for this. No bunkers, no tanks, no Widow Mines. We dive into the 3rd base. We collapse into the mineral line as well. Good positioning here. We do pull back. And the Colossus are under fire. Big mind shots here on the Zealots. Good positioning, but the Colossus, they rain down on the army. Boys are being pulled, and Jieshi, can he barely break through? The Colossus are going down. They do both fall. And Clem, he's barely holding on, but it costs him every single SCV. It costs him 24 workers. But here comes a reinforcing Colossus. It looks like Jieshi, he has done it. He's broken the back of Clem. GG gets called, and Jieshi takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Again, a very different approach here by Jieshi, and again, we've seen Jieshi bring Clem down before, but a very different approach, taking a more defensive approach here, just calming things down, taking his third base, getting into his fourth as well. Clem posturing, threatening his own aggression, wasn't quite able to do much with it, though he was caught out on the map. Jieshi able to capitalize on that. Let's go. What happened to Kiri? Plays Terran. True, true. Asher, have you watched Star Wars 11? I recommend it, Bobby. I recommend it. Plenty of content out there, Bobby. Oh. Clem is a pretty good last Terran. Yeah, it's a pretty good last Terran. True, true. It's pretty good, but he's up against Jieshi. You know, he's up against a player that now is leading the series 1-0, something that Trap could not quite accomplish. But Jieshi, he's here. He is looking strong. And can Jieshi clean things up 2-0? That would be an impressive result. Like, even though I was kind of like mentioning earlier how, like, you know, we've seen Jieshi bring Clem down before. Even in saying that, I would say, like, if he were to do it, it'd go to the ace match, right? Like, I would not be expecting a more dominant 2-0 performance. Well, we're almost there. We're almost there as we're getting ready for game 2 on Amphion. Let's go. We're getting ready for game number 2. And we're loading in. You can hear the beeps. Can hear the beeps here. And now the pressure is on Clem. The pressure is on Clem to bounce back here and now against Jieshi. Otherwise, that would be the end of his run in this tournament. Again, he had a great performance earlier against Trap. It was a beautiful series. I would love to see more, but we'll see. We'll see if this goes to the ace match. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amphion, we have the French Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. Down in this series, he needs to fight back here and now to bring it all back. He needs your support in the chat as he is the last Terran in the tournament. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming. It is Jieshi. We go. He is going to be leading the series. Now, I'm curious what kind of openers we go for this time. Honestly, blink-based openers, we've seen them struggle on Amphion. You can't blink into the main. There's no way to blink into the main base. You can't really threaten with a 4-gate. You can blink into the natural, I guess, but even then, it's a little bit more of an awkward position to push into. So yeah, I'm expecting more of a Stargate opener instead. We have seen a rise in popularity of robo openers. We've been seeing a lot of robo play from players like Hero, from players like Trap, from a lot of the Korean Protoss players. I'm curious if Jieshi is also one to embrace that as well. I'm very curious. So I was just sneezing. To apologize, but here we go. We're settling into our opener. It's going to be a Gate Cyber Expand, standard opener here by Jieshi. This time, Clem does not risk it with a proxy. If you remember, the proxy reaction from Clem was a little bit lackluster. The bunker was shut down, and we didn't really deny any mining time at the natural base, so it was a bit of a rougher start there from Clem earlier on. So So Clem doesn't really risk it by going for the proxy, going for a double gas opener into a faster factory. And we'll see what this leads into, whether it's going to be Reaper Hellion, whether it's going to be faster Widow Mines, whether it's going to be a commitment into Cyclones. Clem has options. He has options. Does have options here. We have the CC on the low ground. And I'm still waiting for the tech of choice from Jieshi, as we're building up that gas and soon throwing down one of three. One of three tech options here. And we have it. It's going to be another Twilight Council opener. Okay. It's going to be a Twilight Council. It's going to be a blink-based play here by Jieshi. Now, if you remember last game, we did see 2-gate blink into a third. We saw a much more economic opener here from Jieshi. I expect to see that again. I don't really expect Jieshi to throw down and commit to a higher gateway count, but we'll see. We'll see. If Jieshi decides to spice things up a little bit more, throws down like a gateway explosion and commits on 2 bases. Unlikely, but we're here for it. We are here for it. Blink is going to be on the way. Jieshi moving out with his hallucination, getting eyes on the opener, getting eyes on the add-ons, more importantly. And we're moving out with our first initial 3 to up double Hellion. So far, good positioning though. Sentry is going to be going down. We knock down 2 of those Reapers, but the Hellions, they get in. Ooh, and the probes are lining up. But we're getting a lot done. We roast up the mineral line. 4 probes go down. We're going to get 5. We're going to get, up to 6. Nice splitting there towards the end as well from it, Clem. Splits up those shots. Will shut this down, but 6 probes falling. That was worth it for Clem. Especially because Hellions and Reapers do not scale well into the mid-game. To trade them for workers like that, not too bad. We also got the Sentry as well, which will impact our hallucination scouts. And Jieshi will throw down his third. So it's just 2-gate blink into a third. The same build as game number 1. Same build for our Protoss player. Meanwhile, Clem following it up, not just with aggression with Reaper Hellion, with a Mind Drop. Mind Drop is coming in. Stalkers in position. Jump towards the natural. And how well do we react? Oh, we are going to get some shots off here on the Stalkers. Good trade. We do catch a Stalker. The other Widow Mine will escape as well. Not bad. And oh my god, Clem, he's angry, by the way. We start things off with Reaper Hellion into a Mind Drop into Banshee tank. Now, we have seen this build be quite prevalent. We've seen a lot of tank Banshee based all-ins. We've seen this a lot from a lot of the Korean Terran players. I haven't seen much of Clem as of late because I haven't been casting ESL Americas, unfortunately. So I haven't seen as much of Clem these past couple of weeks, but this is looking like he's embracing that here as well. I'm curious if he brings the Banshees together with his main army or if he just harasses. For now, he's moving out to harass. And again, Cloak Banshees can do a surprising amount of damage. Do we have detection? We have 2 observers. We have 1 out on the map, we have 1 back at home. Banshee heads towards the main. There are some Stalkers in position, but again, without detection, we're going to wreak havoc. Most likely, we're going to force a recall. We're going to force a recall of the Observer. Meanwhile, at the same time, the main army pushes right through the center of the map, going for the 3rd base. Now the Observer does spot the push. Banshees wreaking havoc here. Meanwhile, the Observer does stick with the main army. Probes are going down. We're pushing towards that 3rd. Oh, and Jieshi, I don't know if he can keep up. Shield battery goes down. No overcharge either. 8 probes go down to the main base. Jieshi focusing on his main defense. Gets 1 tank, but it's not going to be enough. And we punish those Stalkers. We punish the blink. And Clem snowballing out of control. This is becoming too much here. And this push may just end it. He gets 14 probes. Takes out the Stalkers. GG gets called. It's just too much. And Clem will take game number 2. GG, well played. We're going to the ace match, Pappy. We're going all the way to game number 3. It's all that we ever asked for. And again, this Banshee tank play has been quite trendy over the past month, over the past 2 months even. Post Katowice has been very popular, and even Clem willing to embrace it. Jieshi was in a really rough position because you saw that he was thinking about like maybe pulling back the Observer and defending the main base, but he saw how committed the push was, so he needed everything at the 3rd. But his shield battery was late and he had no overcharge. Like, he fell apart there in the defense. GG. And now we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. And I'm curious what kind of openers we go for here in that third game. We're going to be loading into Crimson Court as that game number 3. We can take a more secure third base location here. We can take a more aggressive third base as well. We can approach this in a couple of different ways. As you can hear the beeps, we're loading in. Does the KungFu Cup give out replays? They do not, unfortunately. They do not. But we give out replays. We do have permission to share replays to our subscribers, so our subs do get KungFu Cup replays on a weekly basis. That is true. I believe that's the case for all the casters that do that. So, like, I'm sure Wardy, he gives out his replays. We give out ours. I don't know if Rotterdam gives out tournament replays for his subscribers. I don't know if he has that set up. I don't know if Steadfast does that, but I'm sure they do. Like, it's pretty standard here for casters to have that going. As we're settling into the ace match and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Court, we have our French Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid, tying things up and forcing the ace match. It is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Dragon KaiZ Gaming, being forced into Game 3. Can they bring it back? It is Jieshi. But yes, for people that are maybe unaware, KungFu Cup comes in seasons, and it does coincide with WTL, with World Team League. It is organized by the same people, by SC Boy, and the way that it works is that you do get WTL points in KungFu Cup, and we accumulate points throughout KungFu Cup, throughout World Team League, and it all leads into Masters Coliseum at the end of the season, which is a big premier event, where our players are invited based on their WTL standing. So performing well in KungFu Cup will allow you to be invited into Masters Coliseum at the end of the season, as well as performing well in WTL. So there's a lot that comes into it. Again, a big shout out to SC Boy, to the Chinese scene, for organizing and funding and making sure that, you know, KungFu Cup, WTL, and Masters Coliseum are all a thing. They do a lot for StarCraft. They do a lot for StarCraft. Much love, much support. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Without SC Boys, StarCraft would be worse off. 100%. Would be worse off. As Probe Scout gets in, it's going to be a double gas opener once again here by Clem, going for a faster factory. We saw that this led into Reaper Hellion aggression in the last game. This time we're going into a much faster reactor, and I'm curious if we go into the triple Reaper, double Hellion again, or maybe even up to 5 Reapers. We'll see. As the natural base is going to be deflected, or we do deflect the Reaper at the natural. Behind this, interesting, we are not going for reactored Reaper Hellion, we're going for reactored Marine into Widowmine. Now this should be leading to a drop. This should be leading to a drop where we can either go for just purely Widowmines in the drop, or we can coincide it with the Marine drop as well. So it has a lot of potential, at least the drop. And this harassment has a lot of potential here for the Terran player. We'll see how hard he does commit to this. Meanwhile, back at home, once again, Twilight Council opener. We've seen 2-gate blink into a third every game so far, and we might see it again. Now, what I will say is that Crimson Court is a better map to go for something like 4-gate blink or even 3-gate blink. To go for a more aggressive Blink Stalker composition, it is more viable here compared to Amphion, for example. So I'm curious if Jieshi will embrace that. Hallucination comes in. We get eyes on the production, on the would-be add-on swaps, and there goes that medevac. So we're only moving out with our Widowmines. Meanwhile, we get eyes on the Raven production. Tech Lab on the factory. This should be for tanks as well. This should be for early game tanks. As Clem is slipping in, and how well can Jieshi respond? Last game we saw Jieshi bleed out a Stalker. Mindrill comes in. Jieshi does react in time. Losing one probe at the natural. And we get the Widow Mine drop into the main base. Once again, a reaction out of Jieshi. Losing a lot of mining time. Only losing 2 probes, though. So overall, a good defense here. One Widow Mine gets shut down. The other is saved. Potentially coming in for another drop. And we are indeed committing into more gateways. So we see 2 gateways done. 2 more gates on the way. It's going to be 4-gate blink. 4-gate blink here by Jieshi. But we're going for a very fast Bay. That is interesting. This feels like a very safe opener. So Jieshi, he delays his Nexus in favor of 2 extra gateways and the Bay as well. So Jieshi is being less economic this time, and he's going to be investing quite a bit more here into his tech and into his army. So overall, this feels just like a safer way to play here from Jieshi. Is less economic, but should be more secure. Against the aggression of Clem in the previous game, this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense here by Jieshi, as he's maybe a little bit scared and doesn't want to die to a 2-base all-in again. Or a 2-base push. Doesn't want to get done dirty 2 games in a row. As he is in position, we have Extend Thermal Lance on the way as well. Working towards his Colossus. Reaper dips in, and we get a full scout of the main base. So Clem, he sees the Bay, he sees it researching as well. Gets a probe kill. Oh my god. As the Mindrill comes in from behind. But Jieshi does react in time. He does pull back. Good defense here by our Protoss. But a good scout from our Terran. As we're setting up here on our 2 bases, Raven does get eyes on the Observer. Observer goes down. 3rd base is on location. And we're settling in towards the mid-game. Now we have a line of upgrades set up here for Clem. We have Stim, Combat Shields +1 is all on the horizon, and it's all going to finish by the time the army gets across the map, as Clem is pushing. But he's only moving out with 1 tank. He only has 1 tank. Ooh, big mine shot goes off. We get 3 probes in the main. Oh, with the death of that Observer, Jieshi doesn't see anything. The Observer not in position. He does miss the move out. And he misses the rocks as well. Oh no. Jieshi, he sees nothing. There we go. He does rotate over. He does spot the main army. But is it too late? Yes, we're already pushing in. He knows he's too late. He has to evacuate that 3rd base. Colossus coming in. We collapse here on top of the Nexus. With the Colossus, we should be able to hold on, though. Big swipes. Oh my god, a lot of Marines go down. The Colossus swipes are pretty insane, and yeah, Clem has to retreat. Shield battery gets thrown down. Jieshi holds. Whew. There was some good damage dealt by Clem, but Jieshi does hold in the end. Drop towards the main. Do we have anything in the main base? Nothing in position, by the way. Oh, no scouting either. There we go. Job comes in. Orders out here towards the 3rd base. Jieshi just having a really hard time keeping up. Getting 7 probes in the main, and the Job say will escape. And just like that, Clem is now ahead in the economy. He's up in workers. Even on bases. Jieshi needs a 4th. He barely saturated his 3rd. Jieshi building up towards the Temple Archives. It's going to be for Archons. Still trying to maintain his Colossus. But Clem has done enough. He's done enough to get himself ahead. And now Clem can settle into his 5-rack setup. Ghost Academy's on the way. We have a minefield to defend. Like, there's no pushing into this. It's not going to happen. Not yet. Jieshi going for a Colossus drop? Okay. I mean, we gotta do... Okay, no, we're calming down. I was like, we're gonna send it? Jieshi does unload. Keeping up with the Raven. Stuck defending. Oh. As the auto turret does go down. And really, we're just waiting for Clem to build up his ghost count. That's what we're making 4 ghosts at a time. When he gets his wave out, then we can push. We can move out. The armory's on the way for CC as well. The armory's going to be for, of course, our +2 upgrades. 4th base for a stronger economy. Jieshi going to be taking his own 4th here at the center of the map. Disruptor production has commenced, but I believe we only have the one Robo, so only one Disruptor at a time. Nice feedback here on the Raven. But Jieshi, he's still stabilizing. He's still trying to recover. Jieshi still needs more time. He also has an observer covering the army, and if Clem ever moves out, then Jieshi could try to pounce on him. Like, he's got a pretty hefty force. Like, Jieshi's been delaying his economy to build up quite an army here. But I'm not too fond about pushing into this. Meanwhile, it's going to be Clem pushing into Jieshi. Uh-oh. The Widow Mines do bar. We bling on forward. Mine shot's going to be going off. Big mine shots here on the Zealots. But we get on top of the tank. The Nova does not connect, and the Vikings are going ham. Oh, Colossus, they have to back off. Colossus getting very low here. Archon's coming to reinforce. Disruptor goes down. The Colossus, they do put in a lot of work, though. Oh my god, and only one goes down. The Vikings fall. Jieshi is still barely holding on, but just barely. Likewise, Clem. It looks like with 3 Colossus, I mean, 2 of them are very low, but they're still up and running. The Vikings are coming in. You juggle back. The Vikings, can they bring down the Colossus? It looks like they can get 1, they can get 2. Oof. 2 Colossus fall. And we're going to get the 3rd as well. Yeah, the Viking count too high. The Stalkers are running out of steam. We're running out of army. Jieshi was not able to break Clem, and Jieshi was so committed in that attack. He lost every single Colossus. He's down to 1. And Clem holds. Clem holds. He has a higher SCV count. He has the better economy. Clem will remax faster. Jieshi, he needs time. And to give him credit, like, he almost did break Clem here and now, but it barely was not enough. And now Clem's snowballing out of control. Now Clem, he can dive on this. Yeah, the Vikings, sorry, the Colossus is exposed by the Vikings. The Vikings, they take it down. Now there's only a gateway army. And it's just not good enough. Not anymore. As Jieshi's up against the wall. There's no shield battery. There's no overcharge here on the high ground. Without it, there's no defending. Would it be kiting here against the Zealots? Clem, calm down. We almost shoot down his racks. We're good, Papa. We're good. Just have that Raven here in the back line. And yeah, the Colossus doesn't really mean much here. Not with all these Vikings. Colossus goes down almost immediately. Again, it was a good push there by Jieshi. It was impressive. Like, he was almost able to break him. That was his chance. That was his moment. Outside of that, though, it looks like Clem is going to be able to take this. The Vikings are going to be landing. Again, he knows how close he is to killing Jieshi. There is another Colossus. This time we have an overcharge. Vikings, they have to lift. A lot of Vikings are going down, by the way. Jieshi, he's holding on. We're holding, Pat. Gonna be barely holding here. We have a Disruptor on the way. Clem does have to be careful to overextend. Pushing up a ramp into a Colossus. Good EMPs here on the Stalkers. Never goes off. Ooh, doesn't connect. Never doesn't quite connect here. And through sheer numbers, so through sheer brute force, Clem should still break at Jieshi. As there we go, does force his way through. Disruptor just arrived, never goes off, doesn't connect. And Clem, he has done it. It went all the way to the ace match here. It's not been an easy road, not an easy series, but Clem will take it 2-1, taking down Jieshi. GG. GG, well played. The Terran Hope is still alive here in KungFu Cup. Congratulations as Clem advances on to the quarterfinals, if I recall correctly. My condolences to Jieshi, did very well for himself, taking a lead in the series. Game 2 was brutal. Game 2 was more one-sided, and it was a little bit more brutal there, where Clem was hyper-aggressive, and Jieshi could not keep up. So that was more of an unfortunate game. But when it comes to game number 3 and game number 1, Jieshi held his own. He held his own, took game 1. Here in game 3, was barely not able to break through his opponent. You could definitely argue that maybe they could have been. Oh, what's that? Wait, what's going on? Hold on. We are good. Sorry. Suddenly I was like the party leader. So I had to very quickly like invite people and kick people and set things up. So yeah, so suddenly I was given power and I was like, oh, okay, I'll focus. But yeah, with that, congratulations, Clem would advance on. My condolences to Jieshi, but he had a really good performance to make it to the ace match. With that, Clem has his next opponent. It's going to be another TvP. We mentioned earlier that Clem is, it's that meme. It's the meme with Clem surrounded by like 6 Protoss players right now. You know what meme I'm talking about. But yes, Clem, he has to kind of wade his way through a sea of Protoss. He brought down Trap, he brought down Jieshi. Up next is going to be Nightmare, and after that, it's going to be either Classic or Hero.